Show with Fop and the gang right here at Remedy.
All right, welcome back to the Gong Show. We've got the man in the house joining us all the way from what part of the country are you in, Mr. Tweezy Man?
I'm in H-Town.
H-Town, Houston. I've never been to Houston. I hear it's balmy there. What's the temperature? Any idea?
Inside next to the Starbucks, it's half past awesome.
I love you. Can we just have a conversation, just the two of us? Because you light up my day. You light up my day. What do you got for us? What's new in your world? Come on, you're always doing something. You're up to something.
Yeah. Well, apparently, according to this one website, I'm up to a brand new allegiance and membership in the Illuminati.
Oh, good.
Which I was like, they never told me. I had no idea. This ridiculous website had this full page, and actually it's been up there for 13 years, so it's nothing new, but they said because I held my hands like this in one of my shots,
yes,
they said that I was holding up an Illuminati pyramid. However, I was just trying to tell people how big I like my pizza rolls. I like them that big.
That sounds exactly like that you would describe on stage how big you like your pizza rolls.
Yeah, I'm saying, go big or go home when it comes to pizza rolls.
Absolutely.
However, I'm convinced that there is no Illuminati. There's just one guy named Lou Minotti. He's Italian. He smells like Genoa salami. And he's been perpetrating this the whole time, all because, no, on a serious tip, this Illuminati stuff is really, it makes me laugh because so many Christian artists are being accused of this. The song I did with Lecrae called They Like Me, there's a point where to make a point, he puts his hand over his eye because he talks about being Cyclops. He says, I'm Cyclops because all I see is red, meaning he's only focused like Cyclops was on one thing. And however, people interpret this as all-seeing eye, and it's insane. And there's this big, I don't know, it's like people are scared to death that the Illuminati is going to jump out of the bush like, gotcha! And I'm not even one to say that there isn't some secret societies out there. Obviously there is. Things like the Masons and things like that is obviously prevalent. And it's not to say there's not, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I can see why some people can feel that way.
Sure.
The point of what I really hope people understand is that whether there is an Illuminati, whether there's just a guy named Illuminati, whether or not I get a pizza roll this big, God is still God.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't care how big your secret society is, which, on a side note, if you're a secret society, you guys are doing a terrible job. Because apparently, any 12-year-old with a YouTube connection can figure you out. Anyway, no, but all that to be said is, God is bigger than all that.
Well, can you just help us out a little bit with, there's a lot of chatter on Facebook and anywhere where Christians seem to hang out about Beyonce at the Super Bowl. Can you give us some insight there? It's kind of the same thing you're saying.
Well, I will say, one, I didn't watch it, so all I saw was a million people freaking out about her. Whether Beyonce is, or Jay-Z is, or Kanye West is, or all these things, whether they are members of these super secret societies or not, it doesn't change, number one, that there is sin and that we are disconnected from God and we have to reconnect through Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But I also say that there's no question that any smart entertainer knows controversy sells.
Yeah.
And the more controversy you can do, the more you can make people talk, the more people talk, the more people buy your records, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
So whether Beyonce is or not, ironically, as I'm sitting here in Houston saying this, I better be careful, they're going to find me. Whether she is or not, it doesn't change who Christ is.
You're right.
And it's still, it's like the boogeyman under the bed. Everyone is talking about the boogeyman under the bed. Nobody wants to look under the bed. And even if there was something under the bed and you squeaked one of your toys, you'd be like, ah! You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Actually, while you talk about the boogeyman, I'm getting kind of afraid, so we probably should move on. I'm a chicken pants.
I just meant you need a boogeyman. You need to stop sitting there, Clinton, and start boogieing.
Thank you. I will. I will. We're going to come back with Tweezy with questions from you in the chat, but like we do each time we're with him, we like to give a little bit of a glance at this guy he's talking about, Jesus. KJ did some incredible video for us a while back, and this is Jesus as healer. So take a watch at this, and we'll be back with Tweezy in uno momento.
Hi, y'all, it's your boy Tweezy here, aka KJ5 to the 2, and today we're talking about Jesus the healer / miracle worker. And so why am I driving so slow? Because I'm at a hospital. Shh. I'm at a hospital for a reason, because this is actually where my 2 sons were born. So it's got a lot of significance to me. This is where they entered their first life, so to speak. And when we talk about Jesus the healer, Jesus the miracle worker, I have to say honestly, the biggest miracle that God can do in somebody's life, outside of physical healing, which I totally believe in, is the miracle of being born again. Now this is where my kids were born for the first time. My prayer every day is that they would become born again, just like my life has been born again. Now we've messed up, we've done things God says don't do. It separates us from God. We need a restart, we need a reboot. And that is what God calls to be born again. Jesus said you must be born again. So, how does that apply to Jesus being the healer and the miracle worker? Well, it's very simple. God's healing in our lives can be in multiple aspects. Now, I certainly believe that God can heal us physically. He has not changed. Jesus has not changed. He healed people miraculously back then. He still does it. He still does miracles to this day. But some of us need a different kind of miracle and a different kind of healing. Sometimes we have hurts in our heart. Maybe we have things of unforgiveness and bitterness and pain. And those are things that God needs to get in there and deal with and heal. Some of us need a miracle of being born again. We are lost and we are going to be separated from God. We need that kind of miracle. And some of us do need a physical healing, and I believe firmly that God can do the same thing today. Whatever your need is, it starts with Jesus. He is the healer and He is the miracle worker.
KJ52. KJ, we've got some questions for you in the chat, but before we do that, why did you make these videos, these basics of the Christian faith? Talk about that.
Well, I just thought it was, you know, like when I used to play football or any sports, my coach always emphasized the fundamentals. And if you can't do the fundamentals, you can't do the deeper, harder stuff. And a lot of us just are, you know, we're just lazy. We don't want to check out the basics of the faith because it requires actual, it requires actual effort. So I thought, what about finding ways to explain it in a way that's simple, that's easy, easily graspable, etc., etc.
Love it. Patience in the chat asks, when did you, and I know this is going to be a long answer, but I know you can sum it up. When did you first decide to follow Jesus and make Him Lord of your life?
Actually, it'd be a pretty short answer. I was 15. I did not grow up in the church. It was actually through the radio. I used to listen to these radio preachers every night, and one night the guy just gave an invitation. This, of course, happened over a couple months, but he gave this invitation. He said, wherever you're at, you can give your life to Christ. And I kind of prayed almost like a prayer of like challenging God. I sort of said, God, if you're real or you're who they say you are, prove it to me, and I'll follow you the rest of my life. And I never forget, I woke up the next day, I was different. There was no question in my mind. And that was the beginning of a big change.
Well, for you, when you did that, was that a hard choice, knowing that there were some unknowns in your future?
Absolutely, and there was a lot of unknowns in the way I thought people would perceive me, because I had just left my old school where I was a completely different person, and so I was at a brand new school, and trying to explain to my family members what this change meant was scary in a lot of ways. People know me for one thing, but I had to be real. I had to be real with who God was in my life and real with what He was doing, and some understood it. Some thought I was brainwashed and joined a cult. Other people could care less, and some were super excited. Either way, it didn't really change who Christ was, and that was what I had to do.
I'm hearing that theme a lot today. Bro, I love you. Thanks for bringing some truth to us today. Say hi to Houston. Don't get in trouble. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, here's some KJ52 coming to you from theGONGshow.